Hey, Coach. I'll try a live stream here. We'll do an axle or a shock assembly. Gurus, welcome in. How's everybody today? I do a little update. These are the colors that I'm going with for the Ryft. And got the axles all done. Welcome in, RC Daniel. Used a Ryft 500 on that one. And motor assembly's all done. Hobby Wing 550. See that? Hobby Wing 550. And little Ryft servo in the back for the shifting servo. How's everybody today? A little cooler up here in central New York today. Supposed to get in the 80s. Top chat. Yeah, let me switch over to live chat. Good idea. Thanks, Guru. So everybody can hear me okay? Let's bring it up on my tablet. Let's bring it up. Okay, good. Hey, barbecue. So, barbecue, if you're just getting in here, these are the Ryft colors I'm going with. Right. Got buckets of dyed pieces to put together later on. All the links are set to go. Motor assembly is all set. Used the X 550 with 5mm shaft, 3300 kV. Probably going to be overpowered. Hey, Sean. Appreciate that. Looks like Sean's at work, just stopping in for a second. RC Daniel. RC Dan. Oh, it must be Daniel Guru's talking about. Keep talking myself out of getting a drag slash. I've been tempted to get into the drag scene. Don't have any yet. Coach is big into that. Sean says a master class in building. Yeah, I'll probably screw it up somehow. So I just took out steps for E1 out of the bag. So I'll just come into here and at least have this sitting to the side so I can not screw it up too badly for you guys. All right, so E1. Looks like all we gotta do is, they may have already done it for you, put the collar onto the shock assembly. Well, that was nice of them. Let's go on to the next step, I guess. Take 2 O-rings and put them into the bottom of the shock. I have to seat them in, try to get them in there square. And screw it into place. Make sure your O-rings don't get pinched. You want to make sure they slide up into the shock body. Two of them. And screw your shock assembly on bottom. RC Daniel, you've gone out and run your EXB Mojave. You got that put together recently. I see they put out a couple RTR new ESBs. Those look pretty cool. I think it's an Outcast 8 scale and Typhon 8 scale. They look pretty nice. So I got all 4 assemblies done. Sometimes I'll take a small drive, plenty small enough that you're not going to damage the O-rings, and just make sure that they're aligned. Okay, next one, we got to open up bag E3. Which, where is E3? Good times. Shock shafts. It's E2, apparently. Don't know why it's step E3. E2 is just assembling these. So actually step E2 is E3 in the book, apparently. Nice to have little magnetic trays for the little parts. Sometimes you'll have them falling on the ground on you. It was a good idea to double check your bags, make sure everything's out of them before you throw them away. All right. Now you want to take these little tiny metal washers, slip them onto the end of the shaft. It's got a collar. That should stop the washer. And you can do that 4 times, or you can just go ahead and do it individually one at a time. Looks like next you want to take one of the bladders, or I think it's called a bladder. It goes inside the shock, and it's got 2 little holes. It varies the amount of shock oil that can pass through it. And put on one of your nuts. And being that it's a metal to metal connection, and these are nylon hex nuts, so don't worry about lock tight. Grab a nut driver. It's nice to have something like that. A lot of different companies sell them, all different prices, but they have non-teethed grabbing devices and a thing to put in rod ends, so you can grab the shock shaft safely and not damage it. And just tighten down the nut. Do this times 4. This can get a little repetitive being shocks, but I figured it'd take a little bit of time and I could do the live. Looks like Coach is at work also. RC Daniel said that he did run his Mojave. Been raining like crazy. Gotcha. Probably haven't been able to get out. Oh, forgot the bladder on that one. Just like 22 times we do it nice because we do it twice. Making sure you got the bladder the right direction. Doesn't seem like it's directional. Another ring, bladder, and whatnot. Hey, Lauren. Welcome in. Thought I'd try doing a live broadcast. Just assembling some shocks. Look like I'll show you. These are my Ryft parts I've dyed. Colors I'll be going with. Purple. And this was a cherry red. This was cherry red plus some navy blue. Alright, on to the last one. So again, little lock washer onto the collard onto the shock shaft, then your bladder. And finally, your nylon lock nut. Don't have to over tighten it, just tight enough. Snug it up. Okay, looks like next thing to do is to slide them into the shocks, and sometimes I'll take a little shock oil, put it on the threads. Put it in. That way when it goes through the washers, it's a little bit lubricated. Also, I'll try to thread it through it. Be gentle, not to jam it through there and damage your O-rings. And wipe off the extra so it's not in the way later on. So, assembled. Again, just a little bit of shock oil on the threads. And you see down in the shock assembly, there's a hole. Aim for that hole. Just kind of screw and push at the same time, mostly screwing. Two down. Team Associated makes a product called green slime, I think. Seen people use, which you can put on to do the same thing, and I think it seals the O-rings a little bit. I'm thinking about picking some of that up at some time. A little tube of it. It's supposed to be good for shock assembly. Okay. Last one, same thing. Find the hole, put it in. We all like finding the hole and putting it in. There it goes. That is what she said. Happy Canada Day, CSL says. Yep, happy Canada Day to all the Canadians out there. Sorry, guys. Not paying attention to the chat. All right, so now we got the up to step E2. Well, bag E2, step E3 in the book, E4, which will be E5. Now we're back on, looks like we're back in order again somehow. Probably just not understanding it myself. Okay. Yeah. Some rod ends. Let's see, these rod ends aren't all that impressive. Not terrible, but usually I'll put my rod ends, put the ball end into the rod end first, just so it's easier to hold on to. With the tool. Okay. Well, this one, it's easy. You can shove the ball end right through if you're not careful. So you just gotta kind of wiggle the rod end when you're pushing down and it snaps in. I usually just set the ball into the rod end. Line it. This one, all the rod ends are the same, so you don't have to be careful, but throughout the rest of the kit, you got to be careful. There's 3 different types of rod ends anyway. Now that you got your rod ends assembled with the ball ends inserted, take a tool. I think Josh from Harley has some Zerba tool, 3D printed or something. However, Traxxas does make a tool, send it with many of their kits. This little thing has rod end things in it, smaller ones, bigger ones, and a couple tools. I have yet to determine what they're used for. So if sometimes it won't fit in the top one, you can go over to the side one, see if it'll fit, and start your rod end. Sometimes if you can't grip it, it's just easier to grab it with the shock pliers. And these are all regular thread. In the kit, sometimes you're going to find that you got reverse thread on one end of a rod and regular thread on another end, so you got to be careful. And different types of rod ends also. Once you get it started, you just tighten it on. Sorry if this is super repetitive, guys, but maybe I can keep up with chat because of that. Daniel said he's going to buy the regular roller from eBay, put EXP bodies on it. Nice. Okay, so rod ends installed. Oh, guess what? Missed a step. Forgot the little bump stops for the bottom. Guess it's good I caught it on the first one. It's good to have your directions handy and glance at them more often than I have been, apparently. It's not like I can have them any more handy than they are. And just careful not to over tighten these. Drive it down onto the threads anymore and strip out the threads inside the shotgun rod end. Okay, that looks good. Just go ahead and do this so we don't forget again. Yeah, the shock tools, you can find them on A-Main. They're only a couple bucks. It's Traxxas. I could probably find a link for you, but if you just go under Traxxas tools, Traxxas RTR tools, it's only two or $3. I've seen them. I wasn't even using it on that one. This plastic isn't so hard that you can't do it by hand, but this is a nice tool. Especially if you're using a drill or something. You don't want it to catch and spin in your fingers. Doesn't perfectly fit on every ball end, but it's better than just using your screwdriver through it. Probably does on the Traxxas rod ends, of course. Hey, RC Propaganda. Welcome in. Good morning. Really happy to see your rig got back to its owner. Well, the Champs rig. Excited to see who wins your 4,000 subscriber giveaway of that nice DX5 rugged radio. Very generous of you to offer to do that giveaway. Congratulations again on the 4,000 subscribers. Always enjoy watching your content. Lots of laughs. Awesome, awesome places to go crawling if you guys haven't seen RC Propaganda. He's on all sorts of social media. Highly recommend you go check him out. Last one. And I can quit boring you screwing rod-ons on. We're almost done assembling anyway. Not much left to do. CK Hobby Shop, welcome in. Yeah, I started putting some decals up and stuff too. On to E6. That's the bag that comes with the shock oil. Doesn't say the weight of shock oil in it, but every kit I've done from Axial is about 35 weight. That's what that is, 35 weight. Yeah, that's pretty similar. So we'll just use the old stuff. I have run heavier weight in heavier rigs. I might be tempted to try that in this too, but for now we'll go with what they send. All right, some shock caps now. Everybody been watching the Axial Fest coverage from Badlands? Looked like a pretty awesome time. I know Sean was out there. Put out some pretty cool videos. Particularly like the one of the rock racer event with the Ryfts and stuff. A lot of breakage in it. I can see why. It looked like a challenging hill. Lots of power trying to go up it. Rocketing back off of it. All right, so we got 4 and 4. And we already got some rod ends and some screws, the bladder screws, bleeder. These little screws go into the caps so you can bleed and there's tiny little O-rings in there too. You can see. Barely. There you go. Little O-rings in that package too. Careful not to cut any of those. Supposed to get out of there. Static cling. Right, got them all. Looks like we want to pop the ball assembly on. Now first, put this over it, make it easier on yourself. And rod end. Put it so the threads are facing downward. Put them tight. Pop it in your rod end. Yeah, I also enjoyed the invocation for 11 Charlie. I think that's what it's called. Invocation ceremony for new members. Some pretty sweet rigs were given away. I like the Carry All RC backpacks that they're giving away, those black and yellow ones. Those are pretty cool. All the stuff they need to go out on the trail and be ready to go. Let's see if we can fit one with the rod ends in it. Yep, apparently you can't. Huh. There it is. Apparently there was pretty good storms, and some of the invocation videos you can see that 11 Charlie tents are kind of worse for wear because of the storms. A lot of wind and rain didn't dampen the spirits, it didn't seem like. People took advantage of the mud. All right. 1.5 millimeter driver for this teeny little thing. I'm just going to start it since I got to bleed them anyway. There's no point in driving it all the way home yet. CK Hobby Shop's asking if the Ryfts are any good. For what I've seen, there's a lot of breakage. From the RTR to the kit, they've put a few upgrades in, if you consider some of them upgrades. Some people like 2-speed transmission, don't even bother. Adds a bit of slop to the transmission, and if you don't need that extra speed or whatever the extra gear does for you, then I don't bother with it. I like the concept of the Rock Racer, for sure. I like the videos, the busted knuckle, and all the SRRS and NRRS rock racing videos. Probably my favorite driver is Tim Cameron. He's probably one of the most known. His wicked rod called Menace. It's an IFS rod. Another cool one was Outlaw. I forget who drove that, but that was an IFS rod before they were popular, with like a mid-motor mount design. Pretty neat. All right, so we got the caps assembled. Looks like we can just lightly screw them onto the bodies. Pretty long dang shock, I must say. I think somebody was saying there's 130 and 140 and 150 millimeter shocks. So he is correct. Where? Yeah, I should have paid more attention to the shock shaft length or something. There we go. They give me 3 shafts that are one length and one that's another. Be about like Axial. Let's see. That's kind of strange. That would not be so great. Okay, we're all right. My imagination. Double check that these are out all the way. Yep, we're good. 150s and 140s. This is it's a 90 millimeter shock. 90. Yeah, it's a beast. All right, on to the final bag, E8. Hopefully they keep coming up with upgrade for it. Those are some pretty long springs. Looks like they do not have a color on them anywhere for stiffnesses or anything. But obviously some are longer than the others, so. It looks like one feature that these don't have is like the 10, I think the 10.2 and the 10.3 and the Capra. They'll have the lock. You could put a set screw into the shock caps, or the shock spring retention cap, I think it's called. Yeah, there's nothing on this one, which is unfortunate. That's a nice feature. It does have the notches, so you can just run a zip tie up and zip tie it to the spring, which we will do. Okay, so just slip the spring on, put your cap on, seat it onto your rod end, and then let your spring down into the retainer. Push down your. There's one of the long ones assembled. Same thing. Pull your shock back. Shock retention boot. Seat it down onto the shock end, and good to go. A couple more times. Anybody got any big plans for the weekend? Jamin, what's going on, man? Long time no see. What's kicking, chicken? Love, peace, and hair grease. So we got 2 short ones, 2 long ones. Looks like take all the preload out of them to start with. See what you're working with nothing. Huh. Looks like I missed a step again. Not paying attention. These little O-rings go into the shock caps. Out of them in a mess. Turn the truck over the first time and it'll just leak like a sieve. So to seal since the shock caps are a 2-part assembly, which is kind of nice. So you don't have I like to have an aluminum shock cap, but then you have to have like a plastic rod end ball. This way you can use the metal balls. Just gotta stick your O-ring in. I don't know if it's easier to do this way or stick it around the. Yeah, probably easier to go around the rod end first. Seat it on there. There we go. I don't see a bladder system or anything here. You got that little set screw to use. Let's see where this O-ring goes for sure. Goes on the bottom. So don't squish it in between. Put it on the bottom. We might as well just go ahead and fill up our shock caps at this point. Shocks. For this step, it's good to have something that'll hold them all for you so you can do them all at once and not have to try to hold them. Probably just grab a stand quick. sure they're seated up in there far enough that they're not going to get threaded into anything. Oh, nice. CK Hobby Shop's headed out. RC Propaganda. Oh, nice. Guru. Sub T. It's a good channel, Guru. He's a good dude. CK Hobby Shop's going to try to break 100 miles an hour with the felony. Very cool. At an airstrip. Sounds like a good place for it. Make sure I get all my set screws back in. Okay. So I better grab that rack first before I get crap on my hands. Right back with you. Just clean this rack off so I can use it. Might leave this off so it'll fit better in the rack. Looks like Tony just came out with a Italian EXB RTR first look and unboxing video. Wonder if he got sent one. Seems probable since I don't know if they're in stores or what yet. That'll be cool to see. And a lot of people have been looking forward to the Italian. It's been gone from the 6S lineup for a while. Okay. Pick up for a second. Sorry about that. Smacking the microphone with the pliers. Had to sound good. All right, let's start filling up our shocks. Take them up about halfway or something. Probably fill them. Muscle them a little bit, but then I'm going to let them sit here for a while and bleed and not make you guys watch. Might chat with you for a second. This is a pretty tedious process. Definitely take some shock oil. Let the air bubbles come out of it for a second. Yeah, put that away. So one love, gentlemen. Have a good day, man. Hey, RC Master, welcome in. Gaz, FPV, welcome in. Just getting here. Sorry, guys. I assembled the shocks for the Ryft. What I can do is show you the colors and give you another build update. These are the colors that I'll be doing for the Ryft. This was a cherry red. I left it in the dye for 2 hours. Started off at 140 degrees and let it cool down in the dye for 2 hours. This is navy blue added to the cherry red. Well, fresh batch of the cherry red to get the purple mixed together. Previously assembled all the links, front, upper, and lower, rear, trailing arms, and upper links. And like I said before, you got to keep in mind that they got different rod ends. You see this one's like a black one that's long with 2 ends on it. Yeah, there you go. That one's a silver one. It's a little shorter, 2 ends on it. See if there's one of them on here. But there's a black ball with only 1 end on it. I don't see any of them on here. Keep an eye out for it on the kit. And then people have noticed in the kit that they show you to put these nuts and bolts through in the same direction on both. But in another part, it shows you the symbol for FL, like I think F and R or something. It just means to flip it. So keep in mind that these nuts go in from the outside to the inside of the trailing arms. Got that motor assembly done with a Axe 550 Z-Run, 5mm shaft, 3300 kV. I'm going to try to go in and mess with the programming to minimize the throttle curve and stuff, because it's probably way more power than I need. And I've got a shifting servo in the back for it. Try out the 2-speed, see if it's worth keeping or not. Heard it adds a lot of slop to the transmission, which I can see the shifting mechanism has a good 1/4 inch of slop in it. Raw 500 servo and axial servo horn. Didn't bother with the servo saver. A lot of people say, Big Head mentioned that it's in the grass. He was having a hard time turning, and then this is just the rear assembly. Rear axle assembly. Pretty big axles. Let's see. 10 inches side to side. That's it. I noticed earlier the dimensions of the Ryft were in here if anybody's curious. Completed dimensions. It looks like 12.5 inch wheelbase, 8.75 inch front track width, 8.75 inch rear track width, 9.6 inch overall height, and 17 inch overall length with tires. So yeah, we finished the shock step. Suppose I could go on and just keep building, but I'm sure there's other videos out there with somebody assembling it that does a much better job and has multiple camera angles and knows how to use a computer far better than me. So I'll just chat with you guys for a minute. Yep, Master decided to bite the bullet and go live on my own channel. Pretty much stopped dripping sweat already now that the build's over. Nerves are letting down a little. The shakiness is going away in my hands. Well, it was nice having you guys all stop by. Appreciate it. Maybe next time I'll try to set it up so that it's not an instantaneous thing. I can see if I can get a different camera angle too. Give you guys a little bit of forewarning on the live. Hopefully tonight, see people on Francoise, the Tank RC. I'll be there at 9:30. Sure to be a bunch of people on there tonight. It usually goes to 11:30, and if you're on, people hang out afterwards. If you're at work, have a good day at work. If you're at home, take care and stay safe. See everybody soon. Barbecue, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate that, Master. Yeah, I liked how that pink and purple turned out. I was never going to get the red. I tried the purple. I reboiled a couple pieces, try to get them darker. And I took a couple red pieces. These were red first. and then I dyed them with the purple. And this is the purple by itself. So I think it's kind of a nice shade by doing it with a double dye. This is a little bit more of a blue. This is more of a red. So, yeah, it should look cool. I'm planning, I got some pink and purple transparent Tamiya paint for the first coat of the body panels, and then I'm thinking of some carbon fiber effect and maybe some marbling effect with a bright silver behind that. So that is the plan for the body panels and the cage. I will talk to everybody soon. Have a good day. I'll finish these offline, and maybe I'll come back on another time next week or later on this week. Have a good day. Bye.